I've never done that. We'll see how it goes. Have y'all heard about the cocoa shortage? Hello everyone. Welcome back. Tonight I am doing freezer meals. I am getting ready to go out of town with our oldest kiddo, and then my husband will be here with the other two kids. To make things easier for him, I am going to prep at least, I think, 3 freezer dinners, and then there are some other easy options that he can pull out throughout the week. This is the first. I haven't left them ever, so we are just going to get some things in the freezer. First, I'm just working on some manicotti. I made this in another video. I can stick it up here. So I don't want to bore you with this tonight, but I am going to get this put up, and then I'm going to try 2 chicken meals. So I'm going to do like a freezer chicken parm. I think I'm going to get it through the step where it's fried and it's baked, and then I might top it with the sauce and cheese and then freeze that. So when he pulls it out of the oven, he'll just have to melt the sauce and the cheese all together, and I think it'll come out good. And then the other recipe is just a simple chicken marinade. And it's just gonna get frozen like that, and then that can bake up in the oven. I think it's gonna be like a really nice, warm, saucy chicken dish, and then he can just serve it over rice. The light is a little funky in here because it's 7:30. 2 of 3 kids are already in bed, so we are burning the midnight oil. I guess when you have kids, 7:30 feels like midnight. Okay, here are my little noodles. I didn't run completely out of ricotta, but I ran just a little bit short, and so I stuck some cottage cheese in here. I've never done that. We'll see how it goes. All right. This is a really easy, quick put together sort of meal. It does dirty up a food processor, but it's still pretty good. I just shredded up a ton of mozzarella and Parmesan. There's a whole nother thing of Parmesan in there. Just in case my husband wants to cook with those, he won't have to worry about shredding them. My goal tonight, since it's so late, is to cook and then put dishes straight into the dishwasher. So I'm trying not to destroy my kitchen, because we are going to make cookies after this and sit down. That's the goal anyway, and I would like to do it well before 10 o'clock. Okay. There we go. Nice and cheesy. I thought about doing the chicken parm next, just because I think it's going to take a while in the oven. But I think I'm going to do it last because I need quite a bit of counter space to lay out the trays that I use to bread it. So I'm just going to do laundry while the chicken parm is in the oven. So we're going to do the honey ginger chicken marinade first, or second rather, because I guess this was first. And then I'm going to do the chicken parm. So this is ready to go in the freezer. In case you didn't see that other video with the manicotti, the recipe for it is just out of this book, and we absolutely love this book. I'll link it below if you're interested. It's an America's Test Kitchen. You can't go wrong with America's Test Kitchen. Sometimes you can, but most of the time it's great. All right, I think you guys get a little better lighting this way. I would love to invest in all the cool camera equipment, but I'm just not there yet. We did get a new tripod, so that's exciting. Okay, this is just garlic. These were the pucks that were frozen in the freezer, and I pulled them out ahead of time just so they could get room temperature, and I'm just gonna smash those up. All right, let's see what measuring spoons I have to work with. My kids like to take my measuring spoons, so. All All right. I got a good variety. I can make do with this. All right, half a cup of olive oil. We get a lot of oils at Azure, but we still get this at Costco. It's just a way better deal. Half a cup going in. Oh, it's only a tablespoon of soy sauce. I thought it was way more. It calls for a lot of red pepper, but this is also serving a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old, so we're just gonna stick with that much. It also calls for 2 tablespoons of fresh ginger, but we're just gonna do a half tablespoon of dried. Okay, now for the hard part. This honey is raw and it is hard. I have mixed feelings about this honey. I like having raw honey around for the health benefits, but then there are times when you're cooking with it, like right now. This is going to end up going in the oven and cooking off a lot of those nutrients and whatnot. So I don't know if that's really worth it. Maybe I will eventually stock some raw and just a normal version. I'm not going to bother with the measuring cup. I'm just going to... Needs a half cup, so... There we go. I am just going to squish... I guess I'll seal it first. That would be prudent, huh? Okay, and then I'm just going to squeeze all of that honey especially and make sure it gets nice and soft. So now my marinade. Wow, it's getting late. My marinade is nice and mixed up, and I'm just gonna cut some of these extra skin pieces off. And I originally thought you cut it into pieces, but maybe not. And that would definitely save me time, so I'm just gonna leave them like this. These are pretty thin chicken thighs anyway. They're easy to eat. All right, and there is meal number 2. We just got to get it labeled. All right, so this night he will still have to cook rice and, I don't know, maybe roast a quick veggie on a pan or something, but I could have done a lot more chicken in this. I just did 1 pack, which is probably, I don't know, maybe a pound, but that's a lot of marinade. But maybe it'll just make it really saucy and good over the rice. Okay, now I'm going to tackle the chicken parm. Normally I use 3 pie plates to lay out the 3 steps of the dredge mixture, but all of my pie plates are accounted for. So I'm going to put the wet eggs in this middle one. Now I don't really follow a recipe for chicken parm, and I think chicken parm used to seem complicated to me. But when you realize that it's really just like 3 basic parts, it gets much easier. I have grown to kind of avoid a recipe with this just because then it allows you to take advantage of whatever you have available in your kitchen. You know, like sometimes you can go all out making a fancy red sauce for the top, or you can just use, you know, leftover pizza sauce or marinara sauce, whatever you just happen to have on hand. And I think that's the beauty of the recipe. Okay, so the 3 basic parts for the dredge are just your eggs, your flour, and then your panko mixture. So I'm just gonna pour this panko here. I got this from Azure, but I'm not sure if I love it yet. It's kind of plain. So I think I might add some Italian seasoning to this tonight. And then we're gonna add the Parmesan to the panko. We do home, we put our Parmesan in a food processor and grate it up ourselves. And I think it makes for a lot nicer texture in your chicken parm, the shreds sort of have a hard time adhering to your chicken. But I've done it and it tastes okay. All right, I'm gonna set these to the side. Oh, I dropped my fork. Gross. Okay, here is my panko, my Parmesan. I'm just gonna do, I guess it's about a teaspoon of Italian seasoning. Okay, and then to my flour, I usually just add pepper, a little bit of garlic powder. This garlic powder is so fine. I feel like it goes a really long way. It's from Azure too. Most of our spices are Azure. I don't know. Half a teaspoon of salt, maybe a little more. Woo. I will salt the chicken cutlets before we put them in here. Okay, and then I'm just gonna get this all mixed up and then wash my hands, and we're gonna start getting the chicken ready. All right, so I have my chicken over here. It is all ready to go. It's salted, peppered. If your chicken is really thick, I do recommend thinning it somehow, so either slicing it in half or pounding it. If you don't have a pounder, you can totally just put some plastic wrap over it or put it in a Ziploc bag and just use your fist. I don't know, maybe that's tacky, but it works, and I prefer it because I feel like the pounder is actually a little too harsh sometimes. I feel like it ruins the texture of the chicken. So, yeah. Okay, let's start breading. I'm gonna cook it in a little bit of avocado oil tonight. And the way I do my chicken parm, I find that I can never get it, and where can I do this so you can all see? The way I do my chicken parm, I find that I can never get it all the way cooked through on the stovetop before it starts to burn. So I cook it until it's golden, like a deep golden on both sides, and then I just pop it in the oven at 400 until it reaches, well, I guess I'm gonna do 160 today. Just since this is going in the freezer, I would like it to be all the way cooked. But if I was cooking this for a nightly dinner, I would cook it to maybe like 155 and then put the sauce and cheese on and let it cook a little bit longer. And that way you're not overcooking your chicken in order to melt your cheese, you know? See if I can remember the order here. All right, so first, man, I'm just not cut out for kitchen utensils. Okay, first I'm gonna dredge a couple pieces. I think I'm gonna have to cook this in a couple batches, which is always a bummer about chicken parm. It doesn't cook up quickly. So I guess this is good that I'll have this in the freezer, and this is gonna take a ton of the prep work out for my husband. And then you go into the egg wash. My husband is a wet hand, dry hand kind of cook, and I am a work in batches kind of person. So I do all the flour and then all the egg and then all the panko. Whoops, I skipped that. Talking too much. Can't remember what I'm doing. And I just roll it in there. My oil is hopefully hot, but these electric stoves just take so long to heat up. So we'll see what we get. It's a gentle sizzle. I don't know if you can hear it. Okay. It is just about ready to flip. I find that using a spatula is a little bit easier for this because then you can really get under that coating without breaking it apart. Perfect. These are looking crispy on both sides. I'm going to transfer it to a baking dish, and I'm going to get some more oil heating up and cook the second batch, and then it'll all go in the oven. I expect this batch to go a little bit quicker. This pan is a lot hotter. right, and now we can clean up all our dredge pans while these cook. All right, and then into the oven they go. I can just put the cookies in as soon as they come out. So this order worked out good. I just checked these a second ago, and they are all in the 160 to 168 range. So I'm gonna pull them out. And I'm gonna transfer them all to this pan. I hope it all fits in an even layer, but we'll see. This one is like a perfectly round circle. Okay. And then we'll just spread some sauce over the top. That's perfect. I think I'm going to use all of this leftover sauce. This is homemade pizza sauce, but it will work fine for this purpose. I'm going to sprinkle it with Parmesan, hopefully use the last of this. Of course, mozzarella. And there it is. I'm just gonna set this aside to cool, and then I'll throw it in the freezer. Meanwhile, we're gonna make these cookies real quick. This is a homemade cookie mix. I make up about 4 or 5 of these at the beginning of every month, just because we know we like cookies on a whim. I break it up with my hands, just because that brown sugar sometimes gets stuck together. Okay, butter. Egg. And a splash of vanilla. These are Christmas spatulas, but they're so sturdy. I just love them. I can't put them away. My regular spatulas are much flimsier and they just don't get the job done. Parchment sheets for easy cleanup. All right, my oven has dropped down enough to throw these in. Have y'all heard about the cocoa shortage? We bought a giant case of chocolate chips. I think it was 33 pounds from Azure. We paid $188 like last year. And then this year I went to look at that same item because we're running low, and it's $343, I think. That's insane. It's so much more expensive. So if you don't have cocoa or chocolate or whatnot, you should get some sooner rather than later. Thank you all so much for being here and spending time here, and I hope you all have a great rest of your week. Bye.